And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Opening Day 2025. We bring you tonight the St. Thomas More Cavaliers and the Custer Wildcats. Well, on this very chilly evening where the temperature literally is going to just fall out from underneath us the moment the sun sets over the Black Hills, we are excited to bring you this game. We're just moments away from first pitch. On the mound for the St. Thomas More Cavaliers this evening is Rush Turner. He gets the opening day start, and he will start things off against Adam Adler, the leadoff hitter for Custer, and we are moments away from first pitch. And here's the first pitch of the season. Adler lifts the ball into right field. It's called for and dropped by the second baseman, reaching on an error. And now being caught off of second base is Adler. And we've got a rundown, throw to third. There's the tag, and there's the out. Well, how about that for a start? Adam Adler reaches second base, fails to put on the brakes, and then is subsequently thrown out. So we had both a base running error and a fielding error by both teams to start the season here at McKeague Field in Rapid City. And we are underway big time as we already fill up our scoreboard with a lot of activity. There's a grounder. It is bobbled by the second baseman. Throw to first, not in time. And Jacob Pauley able to reach on an error. That's consecutive errors by second baseman Ben Bowers for St. Thomas More to begin the game. We have one out, one on. We're just underway. Mike Fell with you here on the Security First Bank Cavalier Sports Network. Glad to have you with us on this first game of the season. St. Thomas More's skipper, legendary great state champion manager Jeff Peckney, unable to be with us this evening. He's in Baltimore, and Coach Bowers has Brian Bowers has taken the reins for tonight's game, and we're happy to have Coach Bowers with us. He will join us after the game tonight as part of our Security First Bank Cavalier Sports Network postgame show. There's an outside pitch from Russ Turner. If you're just joining us, we saw Adam Adler reach base on a dropped flare that was in and out of the glove of second baseman Ben Bowers now. But as soon as that happened, the runner, Adam Adler, got caught between second and third, and he was tagged out. That play, if you're scoring along with us, was a 4-6-5 putout. Then we saw Jacob Pauley reach first base on a fielding error by Bowers. Ball that just took an odd hop, and Bowers struggled to bring it in. We seem to have an episode of Fast and Furious 11 in the parking lot beyond the left field line right now. Boy, that is some kind of show being put on by, and I could see it well through the trees, but we have ourselves Fast and Furious 11 coming to a ballpark near you beyond the center field fence. All right, here we go. Torin Knight now the hitter. There's a high pitch. And there was no baseball activity happening while that sports car was putting on its own exhibition in the parking lot beyond center field's bushes. There's an outside pitch. It gets away from the catcher, and that'll advance the runner, Jacob Pauley, to second base, and the count now moves to 2 balls and 1 strike. Rush Turner getting the start tonight. Always a real honor to be the starting pitcher on opening day. That means you're considered the best of the bunch on the staff. There's a pitch. It's in the dirt. Ross struggling with his control suddenly as Torin Knight now moves ahead in the count with a 3-1 count. He'll wait for the next pitch. Turner looks back at the runner at second base, fires over the plate. That's a strike. Now the count says 3-1. I've got 3-2, but we'll see what happens. Only the umpire truly knows. Only the umpire's count truly matters. There's a pitch, and it's fouled to the fence. And now, without any equivocation, the count is full at 3 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out here in the top of the first inning. Scoreboard says there's 2 outs. There's 1 out. The Custer Wildcats, they are sponsored by the Custer VFW. And I think I saw Cougars. Maybe it's the Custer Cougars in terms of baseball in our unsanctioned sport. There's a swing and a miss, strike 3. And I guess that there was a secret out in there somewhere. We'll take it. So, in the top of the first, no runs score. Custer with no runs. There were 2 errors committed. There were no hits. And there was 1 man left on base. Through a half inning of play here at McKeague Field in Rapid City, South Dakota, it's Custer 0 and St. Thomas More coming up. You're watching Security First Bank coverage of the Cavalier Sports Network. Let's go ahead and look at the starting lineups for both teams. We'll start with Custer. Adam Adler leading off, playing shortstop. Jacob Polly is in center, batting second. Torrin Knight is batting third, playing third base. Jace Nome is the starting pitcher. He's warming up out there right now. Felix Lucina plays first, bats fifth. Batting sixth, his brother, second baseman River Lucina. So the right side of the infield for Custer is the Lucina brothers. Lane Popper is the left fielder. He's batting seventh. Kira Thomas is the man behind the plate. He's hitting eighth. And Noah Tanowitz is the right fielder, batting ninth. So for the Custer Wildcats, it's Adler, Polly, Knight, Nome, Felix Lucina, River Lucina, Popper, Thomas, and Tanowitz. For St. Thomas More in their first game of the season, leading off at second baseman Ben Bowers, batting second, third baseman Joe Giacometto, hitting third and playing short, the extremely fast Graydon Juvie. Batting fourth and starting tonight on the mound is Rush Turner. Rush off to a good start. Chris Cronin will play left field and bat fifth. Isaiah Quasney is the catcher, batting sixth. Brian Bowers is the right fielder, hitting seventh. Batting eighth and playing first base, Cole Nelson, and manning the huge expanse of real estate in center field here at McKeague Field, it's Hayden Heeg. So that is a listing of the starters. Coming up to bat first, Bowers. So it's Bowers, Giacometto, Juvie, Turner, Cronin, Quasney, Brian Bowers, Nelson, and Hayden Heeg. And we are ready to go. Happy to bring you Cavalier Baseball 2025. We're in the middle of the first, no score. Can't wait to bring you 7 regular season games that we will broadcast for you during the regular season from McKeague Field. Then we will follow the Cavaliers wherever they play in the postseason. We've been all over South Dakota the last couple of years in the postseason. We've been to Platte, been to Chamberlain, we've been to Gregory. Maybe this year the Cavaliers will be so good they will be hosting a regional. We'll see how it plays out. First pitch gets through the catcher. That's a ball one to Ben Bowers. Bowers, batting right-handed, waits for the right-hander's delivery, and there's a bunt right in front of the catcher. Throw to first is high, and Bowers reaches base. He'll make the turn and trot his way to second base, and now he's going to go all the way to third. Why not? If the base is open, take it. And Ben Bowers is at third base. He reaches on a fielding error by the catcher for Custer, Kiera Thomas. So the Cavaliers are open for business instantly. They have a man in scoring position with no outs being recorded. And now Joe Giacometto, a fine hitter, is at the plate for St. Thomas More. Here comes the first pitch from the right-hander, and that ball is drilled to the hot corner, and it's through the third baseman. That'll score a run. Joe Giacometto with we'll give him a base hit. Brings home Ben Bowers, and the Cavaliers score first here in the opening day battle in the Black Hills Conference between the Wildcats and the Cavs. 1-0 St. Thomas More on a chilly night here at McKeague Field. Now Graydon Juvie, the hitter, watches his first offering from the opposing pitcher Jace Nome sail inside. You wonder if Nome is related to the Department of Homeland Security Secretary. There's a pitch. Ball goes to the mound. Nome dives on it, throws to first for out number one. Advancing the runner is Graydon Juvie. Of all the players to get out on an infield slap hit, getting Juvie out's most impressive, because Graydon Juvie, as we all know from football season, can fly like the wind. Joe Giacometto is at second with a bit of a lead. Nome will now face Rush Turner in a battle of the two starting hurlers in this ball game. First pitch is swung on and missed by Turner. Rush Turner, big things expected for him, I believe, at the line of scrimmage for Coach Hagan's defending and reigning Black Hills Conference champion football team. Here we go. Here comes the pitch to Turner. And the pitch is swung on and fouled off the catcher for strike two. Advancing on that previous pitch to the one we just described was Joe Giacometto. Joe is at third base. Joe with above average plus speed. There's a pitch and a defensive swing. And the count remains at 0-2. St. Thomas More trying to get to 1-0 on the season, playing without our good friend, manager Jeff Peckney, who is in Baltimore, the home of the Baltimore Orioles this evening. There's a grounder back to the pitcher. He realizes he's got an issue. He needs to make sure and avoid the force out, and there we go. There's an extra base taken, heads up running by Rush Turner. So Turner reaches on a fielder's choice, advances to second, and Joe Giacometto with a good game of steal the bacon, able to get back from being hung up between home plate and third and safely reach third base. Now batting with two men in scoring position with only one out is Chris Cronin. Cronin, the left fielder, hits from the right side of the dish, and he'll wait for the pitch from Jace Nome. Right now, it's safe to say that Custer's battery is out of sync. And now there's a conversation between our home plate umpire and the third base coach for St. Thomas More. Cavaliers leading 1-0 with two men in scoring position. We're in the bottom of the first inning, and there's a swing by Cronin. It is fouled off, and it will land in the visitors' bullpen area. And now the count moves to 0-1 to Chris Cronin. Giacometto is at third. Turner's at second. There's a pitch. It gets past the catcher. Racing home and scoring is Joe Giacometto, and it's 2-0 St. Thomas More. There's a pass ball on a pitch to Cronin that brings home Joe Giacometto, and advancing from second to third on the play is Rush Turner. Cavaliers still with just one out, trying to break this game open here in the bottom of the first inning. Here's a pitch to Cronin. That pitch is just on the edge of the plate. Count moves to 0-2. Strike zone tonight looks larger than the average bread box strike zone, and that's a good thing on a chilly night. Keeps the game moving. Here comes a pitch. The ball is dribbled back off the foot of Cronin, back to Jace Noem, the starting pitcher for Custer. Happier with us tonight. The lights starting to take effect on the field. So early in the season that half of the blades of grass here at McKeague Field haven't even attempted to grow yet. Here comes a pitch, and it's outside for ball one. This time of year, you just consider yourself lucky if you can play. It's cold, it's blustery, and half the time it's raining. Cronin waits for the 1-2 pitch now, and there's a good swing by Cronin. It's going to carry deep, and it's going to hit the warning track. That will be a double, maybe a triple, and it will be a triple. Chris Cronin with an RBI three-bagger, the first extra base hit of the season's. Got to really bring a smile to his mom, Rebecca, that works at the Rapid City Catholic School System. What a great swing by Chris Cronin to lift the Cavaliers to a 3-0 lead. Cavs making quite an opening statement against Custer. And there's a wild pitch, and it bounces off the backstop, and there's a fourth run of the game. Cronin races home on the wild pitch, and Jace Noem having a very rough opening frame. St. Thomas More all over Custer, 4-0. Wow, what a start. The bases are empty. Only one man's been retired, and the Cavaliers right now, they are sending runs from home plate to home plate like it's a merry-go-round against Jace Noem and Custer. Ben Bowers, Joe Giacometto, and Rush Turner have all scored for St. Thomas More. Now at bat is Isaiah Kwanzi, and Kwanzi fouls the ball into the parking lot, and hopefully nobody has to make an insurance claim. Count now 2-1 to Isaiah Kwanzi. Jace Noem trying to settle down, doesn't have to worry about any base runners. Ironically, the only man retired so far in the Cavalier lineup is the fastest man, Graydon Juvie. Count is now 2-2 to Kwanzi. Here comes the pitch from Noem. That ball is fisted towards the home dugout. And the count remains at 2-2 for St. Thomas More's hitter, Isaiah Kwanzi. You're watching Security First Bank coverage of Cavalier Baseball opening night 2025. A cold night reminds folks of old-time Candlestick Park in San Francisco. There's a grounder. It's booted by the shortstop, and there's a another error by the Custer infield. That's an E6 if you're scoring with us this evening. Right now, nothing is coming easy for the Custer defense. St. Thomas More 4, Custer nothing. We're in the bottom of the first inning. So far, so good if you're a Cavaliers baseball fan. Here comes a pitch from Nome, and it's high, just off the edge of the zone. Isaiah Kwanzi, the hitter, watches the count go full. Here comes the pitch, and that ball is drilled inside the third base bag and down the line. That's going to advance a runner from first to third, and now the runner's going to come home. That's Kwanzi coming home. He'll score, and Brian Bowers gets a double down the line, and the Cavaliers now have really opened this game up. It's 5-0. Wow. So Brian Bowers makes Custer pay the ultimate price as he gets an extra base hit down the line, bringing in Isaiah Kwanzi. It is all Cavaliers so far tonight here in Rapid City. We're happy you're watching us wherever you're tuned in. St. Thomas More 5, Custer nothing. Cavaliers out hitting Custer so far. There's a grounder. Is it inside the bag or a foul? It's foul. Cavaliers with Cole Nelson at the plate, getting some good swings off of starting pitcher Jace Nome for Custer. And for Jace Nome, there's really nowhere to hide against the St. Thomas More attack. They will find you, and they will get the ball in play. That's the Coach Peckney system that's brought a number of championships to St. Thomas More. Count is now 1-2 to Cole Nelson. Here's a pitch to Cole. It's outside. Count goes to 2-2. What I like the most about St. Thomas More's 2024 team was the resilience factor. Didn't matter the situation. They just kept coming at you. Almost like a cast in a zombie movie. Count is now 3-2. It's full, 1 out. Nelson, the batter, trying to bring home Brian Bowers, who has a small lead off second base. There's a pitch, just getting a piece there. Back to the screen is Cole Nelson. Good crowd on hand tonight, especially with the temperature setting the stage for snow, which is in the overnight forecast. Here comes a 2-2 pitch from Nome to Nelson, and that pitch catches the corner for a strikeout. And that was a good curveball by Jace Nome. Definitely his best pitch of the night. And 2 men are down with the score 5-0 in favor of STM. Now Hayden Heeg is up to bat. Heeg with a chance to bring home the 6th runner of the game. There's a pitch. That's inside for a ball. Have to love the tradition of baseball in Rapid City. Post 22 hard hats will start soon, and a number of outstanding Cavaliers will lead the way on that team. Here comes a pitch, and it's over for a strike. Well, I don't know what's happened, but Jace Nome looks like a completely different pitcher facing the bottom of the order for St. Thomas More. Maybe the butterflies that were in his stomach no longer reside there. There's a pitch. There's a grounder to second. Ball handled smoothly. Throw to first. Dropped! And that's going to bring home another run. Can you believe it? The first baseman took a routine short toss from the second baseman, and the Lucina brothers are not on the same page. They might share bunk beds, but that time they did not share. A toss from second to first on the right side of the Custer infield, and Haig reaches base with that error on the third baseman, and there's a ground out and a final out of the inning by Ben Bowers. Wow, St. Thomas More able to plate 6 runs on a total of 3 hits. There were 3 errors, and there was 1 man left on base. The Cavaliers bat around and send 10 men to the plate in the bottom of the first inning. After 1 inning of play at McKeague Field to start the 2025 Cavalier baseball season, it's St. Thomas More 6 and Custer nothing. You're watching the Security First Bank Cavalier Sports Network. We're glad to have you with us tonight. I want to thank Coach Bowers for giving me a nice little biographical sketch on a number of our players tonight, and that's greatly appreciated. Gives me more to talk about than the weather. I'm not going to talk about the tariffs. You've probably heard enough about the tariffs tonight or today. My condolences to those that have extensive portfolios. It's just, remember this, it's not lost until you sell it. So you don't lose money until you sell your shares below what you purchased them for. All right, back to baseball. 6-0. Cavaliers leading by a half dozen. They've out-hit Custer 6-1. Both teams have committed errors. St. Thomas More, fewer errors than Custer is committed. Rush Turner comes back for a second inning of work, and his first pitch is over for strike 1. St. Thomas More coming off a good season a year ago, a winning season. Cavs were about 10 games over 500, if memory serves me correctly. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Story of many people's lives. There's a swing and a miss. Strike 3. Felix Lucina goes down. Check that. I think that's River Lucina that is retired. Yeah, I'm not sure, but we're going to say it's Felix. That's the 3rd strikeout of the game by Rush Turner. And Turner is hitting the strike zone in the early going. Impressive job so far by Turner. And count is now 1-1 as the next pitch to Lucina is off the plate. We're happy to have you along with us this evening. McKeague Field is the venue for opening night 2025. The Cavaliers, in the years past, they've many times started the season in late March. This year they're starting in April. That's fine with me, as long as you get the games in. Count is now full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. River Lucina patiently awaits the payoff pitch from Turner, and that pitch is ball 4 below the strike zone. And now River Lucina races on to first base. So glad you're with us this evening. And let's see if we can. Actually, and now Lane Popper comes up to bat. So River Lucina is at first. His brother Felix Lucina struck out to lead off the top of the second inning. And now with one on and one out, Lane Popper comes to the plate. There's a pickoff throw, and that time River Lucina was caught napping. He was leading off of first, and by the time the throw, pickoff move from Turner over to first baseman Cole Nelson was delivered. That was a very easy tag because River Lucina, he didn't even react to the throw to first. It was like he couldn't believe what happened until it was too late. So now Lane Popper comes to the plate with no men on base and 2 outs. There's a swing and a miss, and he is not tagged, so the throw has to happen. It does. That'll do it. Rush Turner able to record 2 strikeouts in the first 2 innings of the season tonight on opening night. 4 strikeouts total for Rush Turner, and thanks to a great pickoff move, or caught stealing if you're scoring along with us at home tonight, it is still a 6-0 score. There were no runs. There were no hits. There were no men left on base, and there were no errors committed. Through an inning and a half here at McKeague Field in Rapid City, it's St. Thomas More 6 and Custer nothing. You're watching the Security First Bank Cavalier Sports Network. Hard work in the classroom deserves recognition. Security First Bank is proud to support students with scholarship opportunities because investing in education means investing in our future. Visit securityfirstbank.com to learn more. Security First Bank, member FDIC. Security First Bank reminds you that banking is personal with Security First Bank video tellers. Get live face-to-face service from their friendly team right at the ATM. Deposit checks, withdraw cash to the penny, make loan payments, and more. Try Video Teller today, member FDIC. Well, we're so glad you're with us this evening. Nothing like America's favorite pastime, St. Thomas More Cavalier style. We have a great lineup of games for you this season. We will be with you next Thursday here at McKeague Field at the same time as tonight against Hot Springs. Next week we'll actually have the Hot Springs game, and in 2 weeks we'll have a Tuesday game against the Rapid City Christian Comets. Always have very high viewership for the rivalry game against Christian. Christian played earlier tonight and won convincingly over Custer, we're told. St. Thomas More ready to embark on yet another journey. You have to give credit to the Comets. They sure have peaked at the right time of year the last couple of seasons, reaching the Birdcage, the home of the Sioux Falls Canaries, in the state tournament in the last couple of seasons. St. Thomas More, so much success throughout this academic athletic calendar year in boys action. Football team made it to the Final Four, reached the state semifinals, lost to the eventual state champion Winter Warriors. There's a swing, and there's a hit into the corner. That's going to be trouble for Custer. Joe Giacometto motors to second. He's going to push it. He will get in safely with a slide to third base, and Joe Giacometto leads off with the Cavaliers' second triple of the ball game. How about the Cavaliers? Absolutely attacking every offering from Custer's starter Jace Nome tonight and driving the ball consistently into left field. Custer's left fielder has been getting a bit of a workout on this chilly evening. There's a pitch that gets away, but not far enough to advance the runner. St. Thomas More trying to build on their 6-0 advantage. They're hitting here in the bottom of the second inning with a commanding early 6-0 advantage. Here comes a pitch from Nome, and that ball gets away. The runner will kindly stay at third base. I think there was some confusion among Joe Giacometto as to whether or not that ball was handled or not. Better to be safe than sorry. Of course, it's almost a cardinal sin in baseball to commit the first out of an inning at third base or home. Here comes an outside pitch off the plate. Count now moves to 1-2 to Graydon Juvie. Juvie, his first time up, grounded out to the pitcher. He'll get ready now to face a pitch here from Nome, who's thrown a lot of pitches so far. There's a swing and a miss. Count now 1-2, a rare pitcher's count so far tonight. Giacometto holding pretty tightly at third base with a very slight lead. Nome gets his sign, pitches home, and Juvie golfs it into right center for a base hit and an RBI. It's 7-0 St. Thomas More. Graydon Juvie brings home Joe Giacometto, and the Cavaliers have scored in the first 2 innings of this ball game. How about the Cavaliers? Just playing outstanding baseball on a cold night in April. Here comes the next pitch from Rush Turner, and that's a foul back to the screen for strike one. Well, as a proud San Diego Padres fan, I can tell you I've never had a more favorite start to the season. Padres, America's Major League Baseball's second, very best second place team, trailing the 8-0 Dodgers, who, as there's a stolen base by Graydon Juvie, one of many this season, I can promise you. But the Padres still trailing the Dodgers, who are 8-0. Here's a ball hit to center, and that ball will drop in front of the... No, they're going to call it an out, or are they? The umpire said out. The runner advances on the throw, and there we go. There's a fly out by Rush Turner to center field for the first out of the inning. Making the catch in center for Custer is Jacob Pauley. Advancing from second to third is Graydon Juvie. So Turner able to move the runner along. And now here comes a pitch to Chris Cronin, and Cronin will hit a base hit, and that's another RBI for Cronin. Chris Cronin, 2 for 2 in this ball game, brings home Graydon Juvie, and it's now 8-0 St. Thomas More. Wow. The Cavaliers are keeping the line moving, to say the least. Now up to bat is Isaiah Quasney. Isaiah was able to reach base thanks to an error by the shortstop in the first inning. And now we have a balk that advances Chris Cronin from first to second. Well, this game has had just about everything except a home run. No word yet as to whether there are torpedo bats in the St. Thomas More dugout. Of course, all the rage in the early part of baseball. That's where the baseball bat design is reminiscent of putting a bowling pin at the end of the bat so as to give a wider barrel to the sweet spot. There's a grounder to left field, and that will put runners at the corners with just one out for STM. So Quasney able to advance Chris Cronin from second to third base now. And Brian Bowers comes up to bat. Bowers with an RBI double his first time up. Let's see what Bowers can do with this next appearance at the plate against Jay Snow. There's a swing and a miss and a wild pitch. And that, or check that, a pass ball, and that'll bring home another run. So Cronin scores for the second time this evening. Able to advance to second on a balk and score on a pass ball. And Isaiah Quasney is now at second base. If you love keeping score like I do, you have to really be enjoying this game to this point. It's almost like playing a really mean game of Scrabble with an extended stretch of one's vocabulary. Here comes a pitch just off the plate. Count now goes to 1-1. But you talk about variety. You talk about reaching into a jar with about 50 different flavors of jelly beans. That's what the scorebook looks like so far in these first two innings here at McKeague Field. Count is 2-2 now to Brian Bowers. Bowers trying to advance or bring home Isaiah Quasney, who has a slight lead out at second base. There's a pitch behind the runner. That gets back to the screen, and chugging from second to third is Quasney. Well, that was such a wild pitch that even John Kruk wouldn't try to sell that as a close pitch against Randy Johnson, if you remember that moment in the Midsummer's Classic back in the 90s. Bowers now with a man at third, still just one out. And the payoff pitch is ball four, and Bowers trots up to first base. Now Cole Nelson comes up to bat. Cole struck out his first time up. Would love to make contact this time with runners at the corners and the Cavs leading by a commanding score of 9-0. And there is a ball drilled to left, and it's caught. That'll be a sac fly. Racing home from third and scoring is Isaiah Quasney, and Cole Nelson does his job and does it well. He makes contact, drives a sac fly to left field for the second out of the inning, but makes it 10-0 in favor of St. Thomas More, and we're only in the bottom of the second inning. Now here comes a outside pitch. The count is 1-0. Cavaliers have out-hit Custer 10-1 unofficially. I think it's a little different than it really is. I'll say 6-1. There have been 4 errors committed by Custer so far in this game. Hayden Haig now the hitter. Hayden reached on a error by one of the Lucina brothers in the bottom of the first inning. There's a pitch. Count goes to 3-0. Well, I have to say, this time of year, I'm done guessing as to how cold it's going to be. I just wore my winter coat tonight. I said, I'm not going to see if it's warm or it's cold. I'm just going with cold, and I'm glad I did. The sun, now a distant memory, and it is downright cold here at McKeague Field. There's a pitch inside, and that'll be ball 4 to Hayden, who trots to first, and Brian Bowers moves to second. And now Ben Bowers with his third plate appearance of the evening. Bowers 0 for 1 with a run. He reached on an error and scored back in the second inning and in the first inning, and was driven home by Joe Giacometto. 10-0 St. Thomas More. It's not an instant 10-run outcome. In fact, the way it works in South Dakota high school baseball, you need to lead by 15 runs after, I believe it's 3 innings or 4 innings, and you have to be up by 10 runs after 5. So we have a long way to go based on what we're watching, as Jace Nome really struggles to deliver pitches that will deter STM from their at-the-plate objectives. There's a base hit and an RBI single by Ben Bowers. Cavaliers have now officially hit around in both the first and the second innings. Bowers scores easily from second base, and it's 11-1 St. Thomas More. Cavaliers looking so far like they could win state this year. There's a ball popped up and caught by the shortstop for the 3rd out of the inning. So Joe Giacometto is retired for the first time tonight. And for the second time tonight, the Cavaliers send 10 men to the plate in consecutive innings. Through 2 innings of play here at McKeague Field on the west side of Rapid City, it's St. Thomas More 11, Custer nothing. For the Cavaliers, they scored 5 runs on a total of 3 hits. There were no official errors. There were countless wild pitches and pass balls. I say that tongue-in-cheek. There were many, I should say, pass balls and wild pitches. And there were 2 men left on base. Through 2 innings of play here at McKeague Field, it's St. Thomas More 11 and Custer nothing. We bring you the 3rd inning. Kira Thomas, Noah Tanowitz, and Adam Adler are due up in the 3rd inning as Rush Turner, the opening day starter for St. Thomas More, takes the hill and tries to preserve a shutout that he has in progress. So far, it's a 1-hit shutout for Rush Turner. Turner, very strong player, great athlete, football player that will, I believe, do some great things on both sides of the line for Coach Hagan, Coach Nowotny next fall. Turner just so far absolutely dealing, and he has that presence on the mound, almost like a professional relief pitcher. Just one of those guys where you say, uh-oh, look who's coming out of the bullpen. That's Rush Turner, and Turner off to a good start so far, only giving up 1 hit and only facing 7 of the opposing hitters for Custer. What a community Custer is. They have that great ice cream shop with the purple ice cream sign. Don't get down to Custer nearly as often as I like to, but every time I go, I'm glad to be there. And it's a good town. Great Black Hills community. Custer, South Dakota, adjacent to Custer State Park. Now let's begin the 3rd inning. Here we go. First pitch is over for strike 1 to Kiera Thomas. Well, for Rush Turner, priority 1 is strike 1, and he has been almost Greg Maddox-like so far in the early going, consistently throwing that first pitch for a strike. Another player in today's Major League Baseball that always throws his first pitch over for a strike is Cincinnati Reds former Kansas City Royals starter Brady Singer. I think Brady Singer led the big leagues last year in first pitch for strikes. Pretty sure on that one. Second pitch is a strike. It's now a third pitch in the at-bat's a strike. It's now 1-2. There's a pitch. It's just off the plate. Thought that might have been strike 3 there. Kiera Thomas gets the benefit of the doubt. Rush Turner now winds, delivers a 2-2 offering. That's a swing and a miss, strike 3. Kara Thomas becomes the 5th strikeout victim and the first time through the order for Rush Turner, the opening day ace for St. Thomas More. How about the Cavs? What a great start to this season. Now Noah Tanowitz comes up to bat. There's a pitch over for strike one. Mike Fell with you here on opening night 2025. There's a swing and a miss and a hack by Noah Tanowitz. Right on that last pitch, I'm not sure the ball hadn't already gone past Tanowitz before the swing even began. There's a nubber. Turner's got it, flips to first in time for the second out of the inning. Turner able to turn on his motor and record the out on the right side of the infield. And now 2 down with nobody out for Adam Adler, who reached on a error by the second baseman in the first inning. Adler waits for the pitch from Turner, hits the ball down the third base line and foul. Adler, a good hitter, trying to reach base. Rush Turner's retired 3 consecutive hitters. The only inning in which he didn't face the minimum was the first inning, and he was somewhat victimized in that aspect by a pair of errors on the right side of the STM infield. Cavs defense has really settled down since then. There's a foul ball towards third base by Adam Adler. Adam Adler, you wonder if he doesn't have the nickname Double A. He's a good hitter. He's the leadoff hitter for a reason for this Custer team. Here comes the 0-2 pitch to Adler from Turner, and that pitch is high for a ball. St. Thomas More 11, Custer nothing. You're watching Security First Bank opening night coverage of St. Thomas More baseball. Here comes a pitch from Turner. That's high for ball 2. Well, Turner has a way of getting ahead of the opposing batter and then seemingly letting them stay in the count, kind of daring them to chase his pitches. There's a swing and a miss and a chase in vain by Adam Adler, and that's strike 3. And Rush Turner is officially cruising now as he strikes out Adler for his 6th strikeout of the game, and for St. Thomas More's opening day right-handed ace Rush Turner, he has been able to record a pair of strikeouts in each of the first 3 innings tonight. So for Custer, in the top of the 3rd inning, there were no runs, there were no hits, there were no errors, and there were no men left on base. For the first time tonight, Rush Turner does not allow any Custer hitter to reach base. And St. Thomas More is leading big time going into the bottom of the 3rd with an 11-0 lead. Let's see if we can check some scores from Major League Baseball and pass them along to you. A very light day in the big leagues. Only 5 games are being played. Earlier tonight, in games of local and regional interest, the Phillies defeated the last place Colorado Rockies in Philadelphia 3-1. The Houston Astros beat the Minnesota Twins 5-2. The Red Sox beat Baltimore. That's where head coach Jeff Peckney is tonight, 8-4. In the Bronx, in a high-scoring game, it's the Pinstripes leading the Snakes 9-7 in a rematch of the 2001 World Series won by the Arizona Diamondbacks. And it's the Milwaukee Brewers leading Cincinnati 1-0. The Reds have not scored in a couple of days. And more than that, Cincinnati, get this, they are they are 3 outs away from losing 3 days in a row by a heartbreaking score of 1-0. We'll see if that stands up. Wow. Well, we're about to begin the 3rd inning of play. So glad you're with us tonight. What a start to the season for St. Thomas More, who leads 11-0. Leading off, it will be Graydon Juvie here in the 3rd inning. Comes the pitch to Juvie. That pitch is low for a ball. So glad you're with us. There's a high pitch. And ducking out of the way is Juvie. And the count now goes to 1-1. Jay Snow, starting pitcher, out for his 3rd inning of work. Juvie swats it into left field. That's going to be an extra base hit. That ball is going to get all the way to the fence. Juvie racing like a flash to third base. Wow. When Graydon Juvie turns on the afterburners, that's a sight to behold. Really, all you could see was the dust. Juvie was awesome. What a great job by Graydon Juvie. You give him 18 inches of daylight, and it's good night, nurse. Man, here comes a pitch, and that ball drilled up the middle into center field for an RBI single. Rush Turner, starting pitcher tonight, helping his own cause with that RBI. And St. Thomas More now leads 12-0. Wow. The hit parade continues. Turner will be pinch run for. Nobody out. Cavs up 12-0. It's been a long night for Custer. They lost their season opener at the hands of Rapid City Christian before our crew arrived. I'm a crew of one, I guess, tonight, but before I arrived. And it's been all STM in the nightcap. There's a long extra base hit into the corner by Chris Cronin, and that will bring home advance Rush Turner from the pinch runner for Rush Turner from first to third. That's a stand-up double for Cronin. Cronin tonight, 3 for 3, and Chris Cronin is now a home run away from the cycle. Wow, what a opening night start. There's a foul ball off the press box by Isaiah Kwanzi. Chris Cronin, if he can get a hold of a pitch, if he gets one more at-bat, has a chance to hit for the cycle. What a big moment in Cavalier baseball history that would be. There's a swing and another hit past the left fielder. That's going to bring home 2 runs. Kwasny makes it 14-0, and Kwasny gets into third base with a triple. Wow. Turner scores. Cronin scores. And the floodgates have completely opened in Rapid City. It's 14-0. St. Thomas More over Custer. Kwasny will be pinch run for, and Bowers will come up to bat next. Wow. The Cavaliers with 15 hits unofficially. Actually, I'm going to do my own count on this. We are looking so far at least 9 hits for STM. Some of the errors have been counted as hits, and that's okay. Here's a grounder to the pitcher, throw to first to Lucina in time. Nome to Lucina to retire Brian Bowers, and there is one out. Cavaliers have sent 10 men to the plate in the first 2 innings, and they may very well do the same thing 3 times in a row. As now Cole Nelson comes up to bat. Cole with an impressive sac fly to left. His last time up, he is 0 for 1 this evening with an RBI. Nelson trying to bring home the pinch runner at third. Kwanzi had a 2-run triple a couple of minutes ago. Here comes a pitch from Nome. That pitch is away from the plate and a ball. Nothing like the game of baseball. It's the one sport for me that I have loved more and more as I've gotten older. I didn't like it much as a kid, didn't even play it. Thought it was too slow. There's a ball hit to right field. Did it stay fair? No, it did not. It is just foul to the right of the chalk down the right field line. We have hardly seen any opposite field hits by the Cavaliers tonight. Cavaliers have pulled most of the pitches they've seen from right-hander Jace Nome this evening. Let's see what happens now. Nome with a 1-2 count. There's a ball hit to the shortstop. It's booted. Not handled cleanly, and a run scores. That'll be an error on the shortstop. And Kwanzi scores from third base, or the pinch runner for Kwanzi scores from third base. And now it is 15-0, and that'll do it. It's 15-0 after 2.5. The game has been called, and the Cavaliers are victorious. St. Thomas More wins 15-0. To recap the game-clinching third inning, the Cavaliers scored 4 runs on a total of 3 hits. There was 1 error, and there was 1 man left on base. The Cavaliers win 15-0. The St. Thomas More moves to 1-0. Custer drops to 0-2. And go crazy, Cavs fans. Go crazy. What a start for St. Thomas More. We look forward to talking to Coach Bowers in a couple of minutes. St. Thomas More, as we tally everything up, so impressive. And how about Chris Cronin tonight? He almost hit for the cycle. He goes 3 for 3 with a triple, a double, and a single. Cavaliers scored 6 in the first, 11 in the second, 4 in the third, and that led to a 15-run knockout, game over ruling. And what a game it was. Winning pitcher tonight, Rush Turner. Losing pitcher, Jace Nome. Turner now 1-0. Nome 0-1. St. Thomas More will celebrate a happy night, and they win the game so quickly. The game was played in 50 minutes of time. Cavaliers win so quickly that they're able to send the fans home without being just absolutely frozen, and that's okay. Cavaliers will take it. They'll take the win. We will be with you next week as the Cavaliers play host to Hot Springs. We'll check the schedule for St. Thomas More. Their next game, in fact, will be the home game against the Hot Springs Bison. We'll have the game for you. We'll be on the air at 6:45. First pitch at 7 o'clock. Wouldn't be surprised to see tonight's ace, who pitched a shutout, Rush Turner, get another start for the Cavaliers as the Cavs will try to get to 2-0. Cavaliers with an impressive start to the season. They get a win for head coach Jeff Peckney, who is back in Baltimore, Maryland. Of course, Maryland, the only Catholic state in the colony, in the original 13 colonies, if you know that. Maryland, of course, named after our Virgin Mother, and Maryland, the only Catholic county in the original 13 colonies. There was a bit of a Catholic population in Georgia, as I understand it. St. Thomas More wins tonight, 15-0. Good luck to Custer the rest of the way. St. Thomas More in celebration mode. Why not? Cavaliers absolutely dominant. They get double-digit hits at the plate. They play a clean game. Rush Turner able to work around a pair of early errors and preserve a shutout. And Turner able to strike out 6 Custer batters with 2 strikeouts in each of the first 3 innings in which he faced the Custer batting order. We're going to wait for Coach Bowers, and come on in, Coach. Coach Bowers with us. And, Coach, I'll tell you what, you're hired. You've stepped in tonight. And for Coach Peckney, who I hope is watching wherever he is, what a victory. You got to be proud of your guys.
Oh, no, we're unbelievably proud of this group of young men. You know, first off, though, hats off to Custer. They played a doubleheader. They played hard. So, really,
they
did.
A
lot of credit. For our guys, though, yeah, they came out.
I just realized something. I need to get you plugged in. Sorry, Coach. This is better. Okay, go ahead. I think we're in much better straits. Go ahead, Coach.
See.
That's good. We're good.
Oh, good. No, I was just saying, really just wanted to thank Custer. They played a doubleheader today. They played hard. Wanted to thank, too, Coach Peckney. He's on travel for work. He's been texting me. He wants to be here. Coach Peckney, is STM baseball.
Oh, he is.
He just, I asked to help him a couple of years ago just because he gives these young men such a great experience.
He does.
So it's really just wanted to thank him. But yeah, tonight Rush, great addition to the team. Hitting, pitching. We got where last year we had 6, 7 seniors.
Yeah.
This year we only have 2. But I'm excited about the next couple of years. We got juniors and sophomores who look good out there.
We did, and starting with Graydon Juvie, I mean, the speed in this ball club, I mean, I tell you, the speed is something else. I swear, if you blink, Juvie between first and second just showed up at third base. It was like a video game with a glitch.
It really was. It was like the Flash. I think I looked to see if the ball was caught, and by the time I looked where he was past second base. I couldn't even put up the stop sign. So, yeah, just unbelievable athlete, unbelievable young man. Yeah, we're really lucky. A lot of great young men on this team.
I'm not the oldest guy on the planet. I remember watching Whitey ball, the Whitey Herzog St. Louis Cardinals at Old Busch Stadium. And I think if Willie McGee and Vince Coleman were here tonight, Ozzie Smith, they'd just come over and shake Juvie's hand. They got to love this.
It's just what an athlete, but also just what a good attitude, leader on the team, just a great addition.
So this team tonight has something to build on, and it's kind of the first game of the year. You just don't know what you're going to get. You just don't know. Did you sense anything in the dugout before the game that just said, we got this, or were the guys like extra focused because they wanted to just give a gift to Coach Peckney on the East Coast tonight?
I think you're right. I think definitely wanted to play well, play hard for Coach Peckney. I think when we first got out there, because it's the first game of the season, a little jitters maybe, a little flat. Ben at second base, 99 out of 100 times will make that pop-up catch. So a little jitters, but then everybody settled down. So, yeah, really proud of everybody.
Now, you got 2 boys on the team. Is that correct? What's that like, managing, your boys out there?
Yeah, well, the first, I just like that they let me do it. So most nights after practice, I just tell them, hey, I didn't embarrass you, did I? So that's the first thing we talk about. But no,
Actually, full disclosure, usually it's the mom that embarrasses the kids, not the dad. Just trying to help out here.
That sounds good. But no, it's been great for me to watch these kids. I really enjoyed when my two boys, Brian and Ben, they went through Canyon Lake. I coached them up the way through minors, and I coached them through to Pony, and just a great experience. My favorite thing is just to watch young people be successful.
Yeah.
And these 14, young men we have on this team, all 14 are going to be successful. They're great guys.
They're super guys. We said farewell last year in Chamberlain to a super group of guys. And it's just a testament to St. Thomas More, such a phenomenal high school, such a wonderful Christ-centered mission, and the everybody at the school truly gives their best to help these kids become their best. And this baseball program is a testament to and an extension of what the program's all about. Coach Bowers, thank you for being here tonight.
No, thank you for doing what you do. This is wonderful. And I appreciate it so much. My parents are on the East Coast too right now.
Okay.
They're in New York, and they're listening, and they get to watch their grandchildren play. So I thank you so much.
That's so awesome. Thank you.
you.
Absolutely.
See you next time.
Yep, see you. Thank you so much, Coach. Coach Bowers joining us here for our post game here on the Security First Bank Cavalier Sports Network. The final score tonight from McKeague Field, St. Thomas More 15. Custer nothing. The Cavaliers will celebrate this win for an entire week before they return here to McKeague Field to play host to Hot Springs. We will be with you next Thursday night on the 9th of April. We'll be on the air at around 6:45. First pitch set for 7 o'clock. The Cavs are 1-0. Celebrate the win. Go crazy on this cold night. Hope you have a great Friday tomorrow, a great weekend when it gets here, and enjoy a perfect start to the season for Cavalier baseball. Good night from Rapid City, South Dakota.